I'll never forget the sound of her screaming. It wasn't the kind of scream you hear in movies or on TV, it was deep, guttural, like it came from a place no one should ever reach. By the time I got to the room, my sister-in-law, Ada, was clawing at the Ankara cloth wrapped tightly around her body. Her skin was blistered, like the fabric was burning her alive, but there was no fire. Just that cloth, bright and beautiful, and her screams. The wedding had been magical, at first. Ada and my brother, Chijioke, had been together for 4 years. When he finally proposed, everyone said it was about time. The ceremony was held in our hometown in Enugu, a mix of modern flair and traditional customs. Ada was glowing, dressed in her white gown for the church wedding in the morning, and later in her traditional Igbo attire for the evening. That's when the trouble started. During the traditional marriage ceremony, Ada received many gifts from relatives and well-wishers. Most of them were standard kitchen utensils, cash, and wrappers. One stood out, though, a vibrant Ankara cloth wrapped neatly in a brown paper package. It was handed to her by an older woman no one seemed to know. I noticed her immediately. She wasn't dressed like most of the guests. Her outfit was plain, her face weathered. She didn't smile or speak much, just handed Ada the package, muttered something under her breath, and disappeared into the crowd. Who was that? I whispered to my mom, who was sitting next to me. I don't know, she replied, frowning. Probably someone from the village. Ada didn't think much of it. She was too busy smiling, laughing, and trying to keep up with all the festivities. The next day, Ada decided to try on the Ankara cloth. She wanted to have a dress made for the post-wedding Thanksgiving service. I was in her room helping her sort through the other gifts when she unwrapped it. The fabric was stunning. The colors were so vivid, gold, red, and black swirling together in intricate patterns. It looked almost alive. It's gorgeous, Ada said, holding it up against her body. Yeah, I agreed, though I felt a weird twinge in my chest. Something about it made me uneasy, but I didn't say anything. She draped it around herself like a shawl, spinning around and laughing. That's when she started coughing. Are you okay? I asked. She waved me off, still coughing. I'm fine. It's probably just dust. But it wasn't dust. The cough got worse, and soon she was gasping for air. Her face turned red as she struggled to breathe. Take it off, I yelled, rushing toward her. She tried to unwrap the cloth, but it wouldn't budge. The fabric seemed to tighten around her, digging into her skin. Her eyes widened in panic as she scratched at it, her nails tearing into her own flesh. I screamed for help. Chijioke and my parents burst into the room, but no one could get the cloth off her. Every time we pulled, it seemed to tighten even more. Then the blisters started. Her skin bubbled and burst wherever the fabric touched, like it was scalding her. The smell of burnt flesh filled the room. We tried to cut it off with scissors, but the blade snapped like they were cutting steel. The screaming didn't stop until she passed out. We called the village elders and explained what happened. They came quickly, bringing a local dibia, traditional healer, with them. The dibia examined the cloth, muttering prayers and incantations. Finally, he looked up at us, his face grave. This is not ordinary, he said. This cloth carries a curse. Whoever gave it to her meant to destroy her. What do we do? Chijioke asked, his voice shaking. The cloth must be destroyed, the dibia said. But it won't be easy. The spirit tied to it will fight back. The ritual took place that night. The dibia instructed us to bring Ada, still unconscious, and the cloth to an open field. A fire was lit, and the dibia began chanting in a language I didn't understand. As soon as he threw the cloth into the flames, the air grew heavy. The fire roared, shooting sparks into the sky. A deafening wail echoed around us, and the ground beneath us trembled. Ada's body convulsed violently, and for a moment, I thought we'd lost her. But then, the cloth burned to ash, and the air became still. Ada woke up moments later, weak but alive. The blisters on her skin had faded, leaving only faint scars. The next day, we found out the truth. My mom and a few others from the village recognized the description of the old woman. She was Ada's ex-fiancé's aunt. Ada had broken off the engagement years ago after discovering the man had been unfaithful. Apparently, the aunt had never forgiven her. We later learned the woman had gone to a powerful sorcerer to enchant the cloth, ensuring it would bring Ada misery or death. It's been a year since it happened. Ada has recovered physically, but she doesn't wear Ankara anymore. She won't even keep them in her house. As for me, I can't look at Ankara the same way. Whenever I see someone wearing one, I can't help but wonder who gave it to them. And why? After the ritual, the village elders warned us that the consequences of burning the cursed cloth would be severe. They told us that the old woman's actions had unleashed a powerful and malevolent spirit, one that would not rest until it had claimed its revenge. Days passed, and we thought we had escaped the worst of it. But then, news began to spread that the old woman had been found dead in her hut, her body twisted in an odd pose. The villagers whispered that she had been consumed by the very evil she had sought to unleash on Ada. As for Ada, she slowly began to rebuild her life. She and Chijo grew stronger, their love tempered by the trials they had faced. But Ada never forgot the lesson she had learned, that the consequences of our actions can be devastating, and that the pursuit of revenge can lead only to destruction.